Hello, everyone. My apologies for running late. Can I just get an indication if you can all hear me just from the comment section? I'm trying to view the Facebook Live comments on my other window. So I just want to make sure that we are indeed live. Okay, so I'm seeing people coming in. I don't know why I'm live on two pages at the same time, so I'm going to assume. Please bear with me. Okay, am I loud and clear? Awesome. I'm very, very sorry about that. People coming in. Okay, let me just test the sound again. I'm very, very sorry about all these technical issues that I'm experiencing tonight. To the speakers that will be joining me, I will be sending you the new link. Can I just get some further indication, everybody who's in? I've seen two people that are saying I'm loud and clear. I'm still loud and clear? Kiku, thank you so much. I see you. Awesome, awesome. Let me just get my ducks in a row here. So I'm going to have to look at the comments on the other side of the screen. But thank you so much for coming on tonight. Those of you who are joining in, it's going to be an exciting time. I've got wonderful speakers that will be joining me today. I just want to get that administration stuff out of the way and send them their links. Okay, so just 1 second for me, please. Okay, so I'm just going to start with the administrative stuff and get that out of the way. Those of you who don't know me, who are joining me on this page for the first time, my name is Fortune Lahwabe. I am a life and business coach. I'm also a lawyer by profession. I'm also a teacher, a speaker, and a facilitator, and a member of the John Maxwell team. I'm so grateful that you took your time tonight to join me on this broadcast, where we will be talking about whether or not you are sabotaging your relationships. So just to kick off, I know that you've been waiting for a long time. It's just a topic that, that came into my spirit from yesterday and for some time actually, because a few years ago I wrote a book called He Did, She Did, the blame game, when people are in a relationship and they blaming each other when things don't go right. So I think this topic really falls nicely because it's one of the topics that I really wanted to explore. And in life, you have to do an introspection when things don't go right, especially when you have been through several relationships, why those relationships don't really work out. And as you will take away from the topic of today, self-sabotage in relationships talks about when you deliberately destroy or you damage or you obstruct something, especially towards some kind of an advantage. And we all do this, whether consciously or unconsciously so. We are all in different types of relationships. There's different types of relationships in terms of family relationships, friendships, acquaintances, and romantic relationships. And tonight we will be largely talking about romantic relationships. But I truly believe that some of the advice or the topics that we will be covering We'll also talk to other relationships so we can learn how to create boundaries, hopefully, and how to actually carry ourselves in those relationships. And one of the things that we need to look at and is to contextualize in the issue of relationship, what is most important. And I sort of like picked about 5 issues that I think are very important in terms of relationships. For me, a healthy relationship is when two people develop a connection based on mutual respect, trust, and honesty. And, you know, first and foremost, before you can be in a healthy relationship, I believe that you must have self-love. In order to have any type of healthy relationship with another individual, you should be able to love yourself firstly. Secondly, that you should have trust. This may seem very obvious to many individuals, but it's not so obvious, if I may put it that way. Honesty is something that is very important in a relationship as well, if you're going to have a healthy relationship. Communication and connection. So we're going to look at different types of, ways that one could be consciously or unconsciously be sabotaging relationships. So I'm going to set the foundation in terms of what we consider as true love. Obviously, there is not a, I almost use the legal term to say there's not a numerous clauses, but there's no finite way of defining and saying these are the signs when you can see whether or not there is true love in a relationship. But hopefully these will be guidelines so that you are able to identify when the relationship moves from true love or a healthy relationships to an unhealthy relationship, so to speak. Let me just get to my notes quickly. So for me, if I look at true love, for example, true love for me speaks to things like being in a situation where I'm connected to somebody else and I don't hide anything. That's the first thing. Nothing is hidden. People who experience true love don't hide stuff from each other. They openly share their lives because they want to share their lives with that person, from, till forever come, so to speak. Secondly, people who are in a true love type of relationship, a healthy relationship, are people who don't play games. People who are living in a state of lust, a false sense of admiration for someone, or a total sense of selfishness. They often play games. So when you're thinking more about yourself and you're thinking more about your needs and pleasure than someone else's, you're not really in a state of true love. And that could be an indication or a sense of, show you that you're actually moving towards a self-sabotage type of scenario. So for example, if I may make an example in this case, that someone wants to keep someone in their life solely for the purpose of fulfilling a particular need that they have, and they will often play games in order to do that. Someone pretending to be pregnant or someone pretending to be suicidal. When I'm with my friends, we often call these type of people, you want to play a damsel in distress all the time. The third type of sign that you could check whether or not your relationship is healthy is when you have complete respect for the other person. Are we still okay? Just by comments, please indicate as you're coming in where you're tuning in from. Let me know if you are still hearing me, whether you're enjoying the discussion as well. I'm going to be taking questions as well later on, so that when I bring on our speakers, they're able to comment on the questions as they're coming in. I know that they are viewing the questions as they are also streaming in. So if you have complete respect for the other person, if you have, you're in a true relationship, you will give yourself and you will receive respect. You will give respect and you will receive respect. You will respect the other person for who they are, who they are in the world, and also to you. So you will see the good in them more than anything. You will see the good in them. You treat them as a human being. You view them as an equal, not your superior necessarily, but someone who's an equal, and they will treat you with the same level of respect. And I think if we make an effort to do such things, we will really, begin to have good relationships, loving relationships. Fourthly, you care about each other's welfare, right? If you are really in love with somebody, you demonstrate it by having the other person's best interest at heart. You worried about their happiness, you're worried about their health. You don't try to hurt them. You're really interested in their health. You don't abuse them, whether physically or mentally. You don't put them down. You don't stress them out. You don't make them feel bad about whatever they do. People make mistakes, but you shouldn't make them feel bad about whatever they're doing. You support them. You make them feel good about themselves and what they do. You encourage them. You do things that make them feel happy and healthy, and you do things for their happiness and health, whenever they ask you to do so. The other way that you can test whether or not you are in a true loving relationship, you don't focus on people's flaws. You don't focus on their flaws. This is not what, a lot of people believe it to be, but you don't focus on their flaws, because the more you augment or you show off their flaws, a person will feel like they can never be enough. If you look at it in this way, to say a flaw is something that somebody still needs to work on, they have not really perfected it yet. All right. The other way that you can check whether somebody is in a true relationship is when you are kind. You find yourself being kind to the person. You're considerate, you're generous, you're friendly with them. You don't try to hurt them. In fact, you actually protect them. You're concerned about them. You show concern. You think about their needs. You're affectionate. You're patient towards them. You don't speak harshly. You don't use mean words towards them. Another way that you can check whether or not you are in a true relationship is you are dedicated to improving the relationship that you are in. Okay, you demonstrate a willingness to do things and compromise for the betterment of the relationship. Another way that you can show that you are in a true loving relationship, you keep your promises. Are you the kind of person that keeps promises? Because if you don't keep a promise, it doesn't hold very well for your relationship. Another way, you need to see the things from a person's perspective. Don't be self-conscious in the sense that it's only about what you want. You only see things from the way you think and what you perceive. But how do they see a particular situation? Sometimes we want to articulate how we feel. We say, I feel strongly about this. It's black and white. It's never purple or red. But put yourself in the other person's shoes. Okay. Another way that you can look at whether or not you are in a healthy relationship is to check whether, are you concerned about when they're happy? When they're happy, do you feel good about it? I've actually met people who are in relationships where they actually blossom when they see the other person sad, when they see the other person depressed. But you say you love the person. People who are enablers of bad behavior, of bad character. You need to check those things. And lastly, are you willing to be there during hard times? I know I personally have been in relationships where, for me, the deal breaker was when I was going through a traumatic situation and the person wasn't there. If people will not stand with you when things are bad, if people will not stand with you when you don't have the money, what then? When you're broke, check yourself whether that is the kind of person that you will want to spend the rest of your life with. Okay? Recognize the value in the other person that you say you are in love with. And when you begin to recognize the value in them, you will begin to see life flourishing. So which leads me now to this point where one now begins to consider, if I am in a healthy relationship or things are not going well or I'm not happy, what are those things? I must be doing something wrong. There must be certain types of mistakes that I must be doing that are making me get to this position where, all is not good. For example, if I may make these few examples, if somebody consistently says nothing is wrong whenever you're asking them, and you know that the person looks upset, or you know that you have done something that they may not necessarily approve of, that may be a sign that there's a mistake that you have perhaps done. When somebody decides to walk away. You're constantly this type of person that is always walking away from various scenarios. Whenever you're upset, you don't want to talk, you just want to walk away. Those things can come back to bite you. Maybe you are the kind of person who always reacts emotionally. And I know that the ladies who are tuning in, I want us to check ourselves. And hopefully, when the speakers come on, for me, it wasn't only, this broadcast is not about just getting information out there and to maybe share things that I have observed that we need to work on, but also to understand from a man's perspective, how do they perceive this and how can it help us? Okay. If you're the kind of person that is always comparing your partner to your ex, you need to think about this thing. That thing really eats on, at a man, the inner man. He cannot stand it. You're always talking about your ex, always comparing, always saying he used to do this, he used to do that. That is just not cool. Okay. Are you the kind of person that is always keeping a score? You are always, checking, okay, you did this wrong so many times, or are you the kind of person that will be keeping a score and saying, I'm always the one who's spending in this relationship, I'm always the one who's buying this and that? Those kind of things can be real bad sabotage. Are you the kind of person that holds back instead of talking? Without communication, a relationship cannot really flourish. Are you the kind of person that is always threatening to break up? Be careful that one day, as you threaten to break up, somebody may actually take you up on that offer. And trust me, one door that you close on somebody else, somebody is waiting for that person to receive them. So if you are a man in the relationship that is always putting your woman down, there's somebody else who's always ready to give them a compliment and to tell them that they're beautiful, that they're loving and all these things. Somebody is ready to lavish them with their love. I love the comments as they're coming in. So what kind of a person are you in the relationship? Are you the kind of person that is always assuming that, your partner will change? So I just want to make something before I continue. I just want to make sure that I've let my speakers in. Awesome. Okay, I see Dr. Adams. I see Pastor Jason is waiting in the room. I just want to make sure that I send this link to Kiku and make sure that he joins us. Please bear with me. Bear with me. Today, I don't know why technology is playing games with me, but the devil is a liar. The devil is a liar. I'm going to get this right. Kiku, I'm going to let you in very soon. I see that you are on the Facebook comments and stuff like that. I've been trying to connect my WhatsApp profusely. Guys, are you still enjoying the discussion? Please give me Makapelo William Ramaputla says, I'm shaking the roots of relationship problems. Please give me your comments as you come in so that I can know that you are enjoying the discussion. Kiku, I'm going to answer you on WhatsApp so that, or really not WhatsApp, I'm going to send you a message on Facebook. I think that's the best I'm going to be able to do this. Okay, I've sent you the link. So sorry about that. It's not good to keep a speaker waiting. Okay, so let's get back to the discussion. I'm going to be bringing in the discussion to the speakers very soon, but I've made a list of the various self-sabotage topics, right? And I want the speakers to give me their views on what do they think about the topic broadly. And hopefully from the discussions in terms of the various points that I will be highlighting, they will also touch on and they will share their experiences in terms of what they're experiencing. Just to kick off, excuse me, there's a few things that I've noticed, right? And I think that this will help us frame the discussion. When you are the kind of person that is always looking for an exit, whenever a relationship is growing and it's trying to get to a new level, and you can see that there's a demand on your commitment needs to strengthen, maybe you get nervous and subconsciously you try and sabotage it by looking for a way out. And meanwhile, the other person, the other party, your partner, your significant other, wants to introduce you to their family, maybe, and all you can think of is, reasons why you cannot make it. Are you that kind of person? Have you encountered those kind of people in relationships that always, they just looking for a way out? They just cannot, stand commitment. Maybe you are the person that holds grudges. You tend to hold grudges against your partner. You ask yourself, what the benefit is to you all the time? Are you that kind of person? Are you the kind of person that you tell your partner that they're crazy or they are paranoid? One of the ways of sabotaging a relationship is to play mind games with people, which is not cool. Paranoia is another one. You become paranoid and you make your partner feel like they're doing nothing wrong, but your actions say something else opposite. Maybe you're the kind of person that is a perfectionist. You're constantly looking for imperfections. You're constantly criticizing your partner, that you make him feel like, or you make her feel like, nothing is ever good enough that they will do. If you're not careful, that type of feeling can quickly turn into a self-fulfilling prophecy, where they will feel like they will never be good enough for you, and guess what? They will leave. Are you the kind of person that is never committed? You're never 100% committed. You're just gambling. You're just hedging your bets. Like, I'll see how it goes. Never go into a relationship with a person who's just saying, I'll see how it goes. Let me see. Are my speakers ready? Apostle Jason, welcome.
Welcome. God bless you. God bless you. How are you doing?
God bless you. Dr. Adam, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me. I don't know if you've been able to hear the discussion as it's been going on.
We've been following.
Yeah, had you very
awesome. Right. I think let me kick off with you, Apostle. What are your thoughts preliminary in terms of what I've positioned? What are your thoughts in terms of the various ways that I've highlighted, just to kick off on the topic?
Why can't I see Dr. Adams? That's my first comment.
I think this is a different setting. If this is not the Zoom setting, it would have been nice to see each other. But I'm using a different platform called Restream.
But I can see you, and I can see everybody.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Apostle, I think the problem is on your side.
I can see you and I can see him.
This technology issue.
I can only see Fortune. I'm not seeing Dr. Adams.
Please, your wisdom is awaited.
Yeah, you've really said a lot. You've really said a lot. It's more than a foundation, and this subject is a reality. You mentioned today's discussion about sabotaging your own relationship, and if you look at the word sabotage, it's actually a deliberate act. While you are talking, you say maybe knowingly or not knowingly. Some people might not even know that they are deliberately sabotaging their relationship, one way or the other. And it's a very bad one. I took notice of something, or I noticed something as you were talking. Things can be obvious, but not practical. It can be obvious, but not practical. Most often we say no communication. Communication is very obvious. Everybody knows that we need communication in our relationships, but most often than not, that's not practical. You hardly see people communicating or practicalizing the things that have been discussed in counseling or on a platform like this. Sometimes it becomes a burden to me because I don't know. There is a funny side I'm hearing. I don't know if it's on my side or your side,
The feedback I'm getting from your side, actually.
but I'm touching nothing. I don't know why. Should that?
I think there's some background noise that we're picking up.
How
But
is it now?
Deacon George is saying he's following, he's with you, he can hear you.
Okay. So I don't know where the noise is coming from. All right. So that's a whole lot. That's a whole lot following what you said, woman of God. People are deliberately, sabotaging. And sometimes the reason why they do that is the fear of commitment. Some people do that for the fear of commitment because to sabotage is a deliberate act. It's something people are doing intentional. And I still want to borrow your word. There are people that are doing it, but they don't know they are sabotaging their relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, there are a lot of people are doing it, but they don't know that this is what they are doing, to themselves, possibly because of one influence or the other that is on them, and they follow it. At the end of the day, they lose what they had, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Before you know it, like you said earlier on, that some people are always, at the edge of saying, I'm leaving, I'm leaving, I'm leaving, I'm going, and this, that, I want a breakup, I want a break, I want separation. And one day they're going to get it. That threat, it will get to a time whereby it will no longer be terrifying for the other person. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well, sir.
Okay, all
They
right, I
keep
wanted to be
you're
sure.
talking about people who are always threatening to leave.
Yeah, so it gets to a time that the threats will no longer be terrifying to the other person, that they will welcome it, and yeah. And some people just take it upon themselves to misbehave, to be beyond control, direction, submission in their relationship, both the male or the female. So it gets to a time when it doesn't matter anymore, to other person, and they can let you go. They can let the clay pot break, and everybody moves on, though it will hurt both parties. But like what we are talking about is that people are sabotaging their relationships knowingly or unknowingly. I want to give you one more example. There are people sabotaging their relationship by having extra relationship to their. Now you were talking about love, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, and some people are keeping another relationship, that is sexual, that has intimacy to it, against what they already heard. And for them, they're having fun. For them, they are playing smart. For them, they can be caught, but they never know that they are sabotaging. They are about destroying something, that is of a higher value, to their life. On that same platform, I see people unknowingly. I've sat on counseling with different people unknowingly to themselves. They will just tell you, we don't mean no harm. We didn't mean it to get to this level, and everybody have been saying, please clean up, get yourself fixed, focus, but they wouldn't listen until the relationship, become
So, Apostle, the question
yeah.
that comes from Facebook, it says, how do we then express commitment? Because you touched on the aspect of people are not truly, or they fear commitment. How do we then
Mhm.
express commitment to our partner so that they can be assured that we are in it for the long haul?
Okay, you said something. You said something in your start. That some people are in a relationship just for what they could get, just for what they could get. It's like hit and run, and they are not going to be there, during your trying times. When you're going through your thick and thin, they are not there. When you're struggling, they are not there. They just want to be there to benefit from something, which is already a signal to say that this person is not committed to this thing. You see, to express commitment shows that you are going to show interest in what you are doing, in what I'm doing, in what I'm going through. My pain should be your pain. My joy should be your joy. And it comes down to this issue of vision as well. You see, commitment has a lot to do with vision. If I can explain my vision to you, you should buy into it. You should buy into it. We don't need to always, go separate ways. I don't know how to put it so that some people will not misunderstand me, but we should try as much as possible to start. If we're in it for a long haul, we should find a way to start aligning our vision. I don't know if you see my hand, to start
I like it.
aligning. We are coming from different background, different places, but and this is how we are. We need to start coming close. We need to start getting close to the top. One vision, one vision. This is important. Coming to this. You might be a lawyer. I am an engineer by training. Dr. Adam is also a lawyer by training. But somehow we should meet each other somewhere. If we're gonna be in a romantic or marital relationship, we can't continue to go this way. You see what happens that people come into relationship, in the midst of it, they started going this way. Everybody has their own vision. And that's what the late Dr. Miles Monroe will call division. 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 And it can work. It can work. Yeah.
Deep, deep, deep indeed. I'm just checking the comments. Okay, we've dealt with the heartfelt commission. I'm gonna come back to the submission issue because um, I think that is a whole topic on its own. But just to go back to the issue of the red flags that indicate that there's issues in terms of sabotaging your relationship, one of the things that I've picked up is the issue of comparison, which I touched on earlier, that it makes a man feel very inferior when you are comparing your relationship constantly with another relationship. That is for me just a no-go area. Another way of sabotaging your relationship is when you set your expectations so high. They are so sky high that nobody can really reach them. It's unrealistic expectations that you set on your partner, and you're basically setting them up to fail. And when they inevitably fail, it sort of like confirms your suspicion or your
Right.
blame, and you blame your partner
Right.
for the relationship failure. Another way of doing it is also saying, you lie to yourself about how happy you are. You don't really tell the person when you're actually unhappy. You just go along for whatever reason that is motivating you. And for me, it's a very sad reality to lie to myself as an individual. That is the worst lie that I could ever have. I create illusions that I'm in a healthy relationship, but meanwhile, I'm not in a healthy relationship. I don't have the confidence to say that I actually don't like this and that. Can we fix this and that? And just before I hand over to Dr. Adams, when you assume that you're on the same page with people, for me, one of the travesties in a relationship is when you make assumptions. People assume that people understand their thoughts and intentions, but you must communicate. You must voice it out. Your partner is not a mind reader. It's one thing to be married to a prophet or something like that. Maybe they can see beyond and stuff like that. But don't assume that your partner can read your thoughts or your intention. It's rarely the case that this happens. And this one I will save a bit. Maybe I should throw it in. One of the ways of sabotaging is when you are cheating, which is what Apostle, you touched on, Apostle Jason touched on this. You're having an affair. You're stepping outside of your relationship or your marriage, and you're having an affair with other people. You are sabotaging your relationship because you are violating the commitment that you're in. And more than that, it's actually a violation of trust. And which is, trust for me is a cornerstone of any successful relationship. So if you're going to be shagging up and you're shagging up with other people, what does it say to the relationship? Dr. Adams, with what I've just highlighted now, what is your view? What's your take?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
Number 100% here. Can everybody
All
hear
right.
on Facebook?
Yeah,
Awesome.
very
Right.
clear.
Right. Right. Great. Good to see you. The principality himself. I salute you and everyone watching. First of all, when we talk about the issue of sabotaging, we must look at it from 2 points. There is a conscious, there's a conscious act, and there is an unconscious act. You can sabotage your relationship unconsciously with no intention. You don't have intention for that. But your actions, your attitude can do that. I want to bring two instances from the scripture. Um, Firstly, Eve, Adam and Eve, two of these people sabotaged themselves. See, the destruction of the first family structure was not because the devil was too skillful or too cunning. The both party involved sabotaged their relationship. The relationship became what it is because of the party. See, firstly, Adam sabotaged his relationship with Eve with his absence.
Hmm. Deep.
And this is very, very crucial. How do you come to that point where you feel you are sabotaged, you are being sabotaged in a relationship? The first symptoms of that is the feeling of loneliness. When you are alone, you are in a
Ha.
relationship, but you are alone.
Hmm.
You are with somebody, but you are alone. Now that is number one sign of being sabotaged, because you can be in relationship with somebody, but in actual fact you are alone.
Hmm.
Eve, on the other side, also sabotaged her relationship. How did she sabotage the relationship? She sabotaged the relationship by connecting more to external more than the internal.
Hmm.
Eve had a strong communication with the external force more than the internal force. Let me put it this way. Um, remember the reason why Eve became vulnerable where she was because, number one, let me look at it in the from the side of the woman. From the side of the woman, number one, there are four components that is crucial and essential in every relationship. Now, if each of these is missing, there is a tendency that you are heading to a sabotage in your relationship.
Hmm.
First of all, let's create this scenario. First of all, that the reason that loneliness is the sum or total definition of sabotage.
Hmm.
I will
Loneliness.
not, I will, Loneliness is the total definition of sabotage, meaning you are actually in a relationship, but you are alone. It means you are not being carried or you are not carrying people. Two things. It means either you are not being carried or you are not carrying the people.
Hmm.
So, and a relationship in a nutshell must provide four basic, four basic needs. Must meet four basic needs. Anything outside of this, you're going to know that you are being sabotaged or you are sabotaging. So when you look at the life of Eve, when you look at Eve, you look at Adam and Eve and all of that, the whole reason why the family crashed and the relationship crashed was because of sabotage. Take for instance, Eve was alone. Was alone mean different thing to her entirely. Eve was alone means she had no covering, no more covering. Number two, Eve was alone means she had no more companion. Number three, Eve was alone means she had no communion. Eve was alone for mean there was no communication. Now, if you take these four components out of any relationship, that relationship is heading for disaster.
Communion,
Covering,
covering,
companion,
companion,
communion,
communion,
communication.
communication. That's deep,
So
man of
so
God.
uh, so these four components can be vital in destroying any good relationship. And there are people who can be involved in this who are not really aware, may not be aware of what their actions, their attitude is doing to the relationship. So it's important for you to understand this. And very important in all of this, one very, 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 very essential key that sabotage relationship that we are not aware is offense. Offense. Whether you're offended or you're the offender. And there are different ways. We can offend. There are different ways we can offend. I can offend you intentionally, and I can offend you unintentionally.
Break it down, sir.
Now, my actions can offend you unintentionally, and I'm not aware. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you very clear.
All right. My actions can offend you unintentionally, and my actions can offend you intentionally. I can decide to offend you intentionally. Take for instance, I know there's something. I know there's a friction. I know that we're in relationship, but at the same time, I decide to. I'm looking for ways to put it. And I decide. You made a strong statement earlier on. Having too much expectation in the relationship can have an effect. Having in a relationship, having to come to a point where you want to outdo your partner, and want to make sure the partner knows I am in charge, I am involved. Now, the partner can be offended.
And obviously when you don't communicate this offense, it's a challenge. Again, what I'm picking up is coming out very strongly, even from what Apostle Jason is saying. The issue of communication is important. The issue of not pretending like everything is okay. When you are offended, communicate that you're offended, because it's
Very,
a
very,
two-way
very,
street. You need to say and communicate whether or not you're offended.
very true. Very true. Very
You
true.
know, yeah.
There are people who are offended and they can't say it, and that in itself is sabotaging your relationship.
Men
And
of
so
God.
there are people. Yeah,
No, please proceed. Please proceed.
and there are people who see, when you come to relationship, there is no introvert, there is no extrovert. When you come into relationship, in order for the relationship to work, you must put your introvertal and extrovertal tendencies aside. Why? Because there are things that must be discussed in a relationship. They are basic. See, communication in relationship is like you breathing. No relationship to survive outside the walls of communication, no matter what is involved. So when it comes to relationship, it's not I don't like talking. I don't like talking. I don't like talking. Now, you're not wanting to talk is in itself sabotaging the relationship, even though you are offended.
Hmm.
And let me put it this way. Let me put it this way. It is more disastrous for you who is offended not to say something than the person who is offending you. You are more destructive than the person who offended you.
Facebook, do you hear that? You do not, there is no introvert, there is no extrovert, there is no I don't like talking. If you don't talk, it's your fault. So, men of God, please tell me if I'm not allowed to communicate or I feel like I cannot speak to my partner, is it time for me to bounce?
Please, if you come to that point where you cannot talk to your partner, there is no basis for a relationship.
My God.
If you cannot talk to your partner, there is no basis for relationship. And let me say this: if you think you are not a good communicator, you shouldn't be in a relationship.
My God. So, what do you say to these people who are saying, I'm shy, I don't naturally, I don't naturally speak?
Once you come into relationship, you unshy yourself. Once you come to relationship, you unshy yourself.
Wow.
If once you come into relationship, unshy yourself, because you can use your shy nature and destroy the relationship that should be productive.
Yes. Brother George says on Facebook, communication is a two-way channel. When I communicate with you, I expect you to communicate with me too. Okay? All right.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely,
before I move
absolutely.
on to the other speaker as well just now, I want you to close on this just this aspect, but don't go away. Um, somebody says, please address the issue of inferiority complex in relationship. That is an internal issue that one has and therefore becomes difficult for the other person to address. So, men of God, the inferiority complex that people will have. And I must say, I really want to hear a man's view on this because often, because I'm a how do I put it? I'm a professional, for example, right? Um, if I'm in a relationship with a man that is not necessarily having degrees and all that, how do I deal with an issue of an inferior complex? Not that I'm being disrespectful or anything, but I find myself in a situation where I'm picking up in the non-verbals, maybe even to say that the person is this is just an inferior complex issue. I'm not trying to outdo, I'm not trying to outshine my partner, but I can pick up that he is not feeling manly enough. Please share that with
All
us.
right, all right. First of all, um, a relationship that makes you feel inferior, it is not a healthy relationship. Relationship that makes you feel inferior is not a healthy relationship. Relationship was meant to bring covering. I cover you, you cover me.
So covering is both ways.
Covering is both ways. It's not the man covering just, it's not just the man covering you, the woman covers you. The woman has a ministry like the man has a ministry. The woman was given the ministry of a helper,
Mm.
and the man was given a ministry of protection. So the covering is both way. I cover you, you cover me. So if I'm in a relationship with someone and the person makes me feel see, you can make a person feel inferior by action without words.
How is that?
You can make a person feel inferior by action. For instance, let me take for instance right now. Um, when it comes to the woman, you have degrees, you're working, and the man doesn't have degree and is not working, and the woman is financially buoyant than the man. Now, that in itself is a setup, is an environment for intimidation.
So are you saying that if I am I being unequally yoked in the sense that I'm in a relationship and because I have got all these qualifications, I shouldn't be in that environment?
No, 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 no. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying in on itself, you having the degrees and you having all that you have, and the man or the other party doesn't have, that in itself, that atmosphere on its own is an intimidating one. It takes the one who has the upper hand to make the person who doesn't have feel welcome, feel accommodated, feel okay. Now there are different way there are different way you can do there are different way you can do that.
Please tell us the ways, just maybe one or two. Let me understand, how do we feel this? Because sometimes it can be quite exhausting. I'm just talking on behalf of the professional ladies to say, you're trying to make the person feel very comfortable, but sometimes you might be feeling like you're doing the worst. The more you try and feel them welcome, but
All right.
you're overcompensating.
The first thing you need to do when it comes into that atmosphere is to be open. Open with your finances. Open with your open with your about your life. Open with your about your life and your finances. Now you come into a point where you initiate discussion. And when you initiate discussion, allow the other party who, especially if it's a man, you can't keep a man that you daily intimidate.
Ah,
So, and if it's a man, you need to create an atmosphere that makes him feel he's still the head, despite the situation right now. And there are differences you can make him feel the head. For instance, become accountable for everything around you. Become accountable for what comes into you, from what goes out. Hear his opinion. Don't take decision. Don't take decisions on your own. Before you take decision, always find out. Even when you know what to do, pretend as if you don't know what to do. Hear from him. Pass it through him. Now you can deal with inferiority complex in that atmosphere. One of the ways you can deal with that.
I hear you, sir. And I want to bring in the other two speakers specifically on this topic, right? And because I had a wonderful session with Mama Helen Orita Jafo when she was here. And I think, Apostle Justin, you were here when she was launching the book. And this was a question that I actually also asked during the meeting, to say, what do you do when when the decision, the decision that needs to be made for the family's good, but the husband, I understand what Dr. Adams is saying, still run it by him, but you know that your course of action is actually the best for the family. And I think, if I recall, Mama Helen answered it in such a way to say, a real man will know when to step aside to let the woman take the right decision. So, for instance, if I'm stronger in managing things, for example, I will still run it by my husband or my partner, but my partner needs to also have not have an inferior complex, to say, you know, straight, you are there, go ahead and do this. Apostle Jason, and then I want to hear Kiku on you. Do you of let flourish or run with things that you know that they are stronger in? You cannot be stronger in the same things in a relationship. You need to have a woman is stronger in this project. I've heard, we've discussed, and you allow, the reins. You sort of like hand over the reins, so to speak. Apostle Jason and then Kiku.
All right, thank you, woman of God. God bless you, Dr. Adams. That was too deep and very strong. I was really thinking. I asked a question while I was still talking, but it's like fortune didn't pick it up.
Oh, sorry about that.
I wrote something. Okay. This place can be both. It can be both sides, and I like to talk on that by starting to say to the ladies, since you're asking us as men, to the ladies, we need to first understand respect of men. That is the definition of love for a man, is respect. If you miss this, you'll be in trouble. You'll definitely be sabotaging your relationship. A man's love from a woman is not testing him. I love you. How many times you tell him? I'm talking, if not almost 100% of men. where most women are doing this. You are empowered in your career, you make it more than somebody else in your life, your boyfriend, your husband. Now, don't take the initiative without consulting, without discussing. That feel loved anymore. They don't feel that you love them. They don't feel that you value them. Respect means love. That's in the interpretation of love. Not even romance. Not even your availability as respect in everything you do. In everything you do, no matter who you are, being a career person or not. Then I have seen also most men that are very, very, very inferior and unsupportive. Very inferior and unsupportive to their woman, to their wife. They are so intimidated to see their woman doing well, excelling in life. They are so intimidated. It's another problem. This is a problem in some men. I have seen that a lot. I've started seeing it ongoing in so many relationships. We have to see them and say, okay, you know what? Because you are not working or because you are not earning this amount of money does not mean this woman cannot do this or do this or do that. Now, like I said, I post a question. I'm not disagreeing with Dr. Adam, but I'm going to say this. Remember that we are not born of the same womb, of the same mother. Even if we are twins, we still have our different. So we do together. It takes time. It takes time. That's why I spoke about a lot of stuff. Where you will meet, at the top instead of going sideways. Now, you might be naturally shy. You can't throw it away all of a sudden. You can't. I have to help you to open up. I have to help you. My question is that there are people that have reasons why they shut down in a relationship. Truth of a truth. You can't, let's not say it this way. You are shy or extrovert. We are speaking, it says they both were naked and they were not ashamed. Now, I have to help you to communicate to me. I have to help you, and you have to trust